formula that has a relationship with devolution. Because the first one that we gave, we only gave as a proposal so that the first Senate looks at. But the first Senate did not do anything. They only changed one small area and left all of it. So for the first time, Mr. Speaker, CRA is reminding us that there were items that were devolved, and that those items that were devolved must be followed with resources. Mr. Speaker, we have had very painful discussions between ourselves. We have even almost hurt ourselves. I like the idea that was raised that we don't need to talk about tribes because I come from Uasin Gishu. Mr. Speaker, in Uasin Gishu, my population is 1.163. Of that population of 1.163, only 40% are in the dominant community where I come from. The others are from completely different communities. I have everybody in Uasin Gishu, Mr. Speaker. I have people from all corners of the country. So when we talk of money going to Uasin Gishu, it is going to the people. So I really support that statement that came from Senator Murgomen that we really need to run away from mentioning the tribes. Now, when you look at Uasin Gishu again, Mr. Speaker, 1 square kilometer of Uasin Gishu has 381 people. Now, for us to run a dispensary, we would need dispensaries in almost every 5 square kilometers. What is the area of Uasin Gishu? 3,399 square kilometers. So the number of dispensaries that we need would definitely be higher than any other place that doesn't have that kind of density. These are the figures that CRA used. Mr. Speaker, I want to persuade my colleagues that we are tearing the country ourselves. It is not somebody from outside. It is this Senate that is giving the wrong information. It is this Senate that is miscalculating what was calculated. The role of CRA is a very important role. CRA was supposed to have given us advice, and we needed to have interrogated what CRA gave us. Instead of interrogating what CRA gave us, we seem to have been swayed by something called gainers and losers, which is the thing that is really hurting all of us. Because it reaches a point that you are saying, so when I'm talking on behalf of the people of Uasin Gishu, a population that I don't think I would like to call challenging because they are not, when I'm talking about the people of Uasin Gishu, I'm trying to rob somebody else to give them anything. That is not true, Mr. Speaker. I think we are looking at resources following functions. And these functions are outlined in the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, there is something else that we really need to note, which has been read and we know very well in Article 203 of the Constitution. There was a limitation that the amount of money to be devolved should not be less than 15%. Why? Because a minimum of 15% of the functions were devolved. And we are looking for resources to take care of that area. Mr. Speaker, if this Senate does not recognize the fact that we are fighting over 15% instead of fighting over 85%, then we are going to go wrong. For the first time, I told myself, if BBI is going to give us this 35%, then BBI be the root. Because we need to have more money devolved. The reason devolution was articulated, and I remember the late Ndimama articulating it. He said, we are not going to go to Nairobi to look for roads. We are not going to go to Nairobi to look for water. We will not go to Nairobi to look for schools. We want everything to be devolved. And for us to do well in devolution, we must start recognizing what resources exactly we have devolved. Mr. Speaker, it is for that reason that I strongly support what was raised by CRA. The modification of the committee, I still support to some extent, and I will not support a new formula that says formula number 2, which was actually formula number 1 of the 10th parliament that I belong to, except for 1 point, plus another formula. I think we need to rise to the occasion as a Senate and look at the functions and tell ourselves as Kenyans, and I'm very glad because all 7 senators here have properties in Eldoret. They are not from Uasin Gishu. They are senators of various corners of the country. They have their properties. And I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that we need to start being Kenyan ourselves from inside here. Because if we don't become patriotic from inside this room, then we will not be able to do. Mr. Speaker, I rest my case. I oppose any amendment that changes, that diverts very strongly from CRA, because CRA is recognizing the functions that must be devolved. Thank you.
What's your point of order, Senator?
Mr. Speaker, sir, is it in order for the Deputy Speaker to misinform this House? Because we all know very well that the committee proposal is not the CRA proposal. Her submissions have been that she's opposing every other proposal which deviates from the CRA. What is on the paper, what was tabled by the committee, is not the CRA proposal.
Yes, Senator.
I said I will only support the amendments of the committee to the CRA proposal, but I will not support the new amendment by Sarkarya. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I'm clear now.
Okay, Senator Wako. Naomi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to come from the other chamber, extended chamber, because for quite some time now, Wako with the queue has not been heard because we have been marginalized in a way. But today you are really taking or putting that into consideration. Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand to support Senator Sarkarya's amendment simply because it is the only amendment that I have seen so far that
What's your point of order, Senator Cherargei?
I wouldn't want to interrupt Canon, but the Speaker, did you hear what Senator Wako with the Q said? That it is as if you are marginalizing other senators, and that is the narrative I've seen in some of the mainstream media. It is important that this is corrected, because she said it looks like it has been long to be heard from her, and it is an answer that they have been marginalized. So Mr. Speaker, I think it is important we don't allow this to spill into public that there is marginalization, because there are also senators in extended chamber, and I've seen you have been giving fair chance to all of us. So we can't allow that perception to go into public.
Senator Sarkarya, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I want to raise a point of order from Standing Order 93 again. And this is in congruence with what my distinguished uncle has said. Mr. Speaker, I urge that as you guide the House, because this standing order was used on me only last week, but it's okay, that if any member rises on a point of order, let them say which point of order it is. And then, Mr. Speaker, that is 93.1. 93.2 says that person who was speaking resumes their seat. And then the senator shall do likewise. And number 3 says the speaker then shall give direction, a decision on the point of order forthwith, or announce that the decision is deferred for consideration. Mr. Speaker, these rules are here for the orderly conduct of this House that has existed since before independence. I urge you, Mr. Speaker, because this is a very important debate. We want to hear everyone. In fact, many of us have not stood on points of order where people are mentioning our names. Kindly just guide us in this manner to give that face that you're saying yourself that the country needs to see. So whoever stands again on a point of order, let them say which one it is, and then you rule. Don't just let it go when they're finished speaking. I urge you, Mr. Speaker, kindly.
You know, I'm not the only one hearing. I hope that I'm presiding over a house of people who are intelligent, who have read the standing orders, and that they will be able to follow the standing orders. Really, it's unfortunate if I have to keep repeating. Everyone has a standing order before you. Why don't you just look at what it says and follow it? So let's observe our standing orders. Senator Wako, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I said, I support Senator Sarkarya's amendment simply because it carries the spirit of 2010 Constitution. Mr. Speaker, some of the counties that we feel are losing are the counties that for many years have been left behind in terms of development. Mr. Speaker, it is unfortunate that today when we stand as senators and Senate is supposed to support devolution, it is like each one of us supports the county he or she comes from. Mr. Speaker, the 67 of us are supposed to support the devolution and see how we can grow devolution. Mr. Speaker, many have criticized some of the counties that are losing because they have less population, and said that those counties have less people, and so much of the money or the finance needs to go to where we have highly populated people. Mr. Speaker, this will still take me back to the word that I have always avoided to use in my life, and that is still the word marginalization and discriminating others. Why I'm saying this is because if you look at these counties, Mr. Speaker, service delivery is something that is just too hard for even the county executive to think about. A good example is Marsabit County, where I come from, where...
What's your point of order? But you are not on mic.
I'm standing on point of order 113, Mr. Speaker. They are running away now, which states that except when passing to and from his or her seat or when speaking, every senator when in the chamber shall be seated. You can see Senator Maura and the whip. They are standing everywhere and moving everywhere, Mr. Speaker. Look, this is not right.
That's exactly what I was saying. You know, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I said, service delivery in most of these counties is a nightmare. A good example is my own county, where the county headquarters is in Marsabit. And for a woman in Ileret, which is about 700 kilometers from Marsabit town, to receive her service, we need to travel for almost 12 hours or more on a rough road and with all the challenges on the road. So when people stand here and kind of mock the places we come from, Mr. Speaker, it is unacceptable because it is like others have never seen and had experience in some of those places. When they say that the area you represent, we cannot serve food because of the vastness of the area on the plate, Mr. Speaker, it is very unfortunate. When God created us, He created us and gave us different places to occupy. So even if you are in Kiambu, even if you are in Machakos, even if you are here in Nairobi, you have no right to accuse others who have been put there by the God who created them. And so, Mr. Speaker, when we talk of service delivery in these areas, as I said, the counties use a lot of money. Many people have criticized us because we have not developed our areas for the last 7 years. You cannot compare the development of devolution in the last 7 years with 55 years of growth in many counties. Other counties have been developing and growing their areas. The leaders have been growing and developing their areas for the last over 50 years. And just because through devolution, counties have been receiving 15% of what the country gets, people already feel that we are overfeeding or over-supplying, and some of us don't deserve what we are getting. Mr. Speaker, that is a very wrong notion, which I believe as Senate we should overcome. My good friend, Senator Maura, spoke passionately about Kiambu and some of the places we come from. I have always supported him because we are good friends. And he has always stood with the people who are marginalized in a way. But when he stands and speaks that way, Mr. Speaker, it touches some of us because we always support one another in different areas. So it is time for Kenyans to stand with one another and be our brother's keeper. Mr. Speaker, in this debate, what we have lacked is oneness, unity, because everybody stands to defend where he comes from. Let us look at every part of this country as one country. We are one people, one nation. That is the spirit we are lacking. That is the spirit we are lacking.
What's your point of order, Senator Mwaura?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise on standing order number 115 on irrelevance or repetition, which says, the Speaker or the chairperson of committee, after having called attention to the conduct of the senator who persists in irrelevance or tedious repetition, either of the senator's own argument or the arguments used by others, senators, in debate may, after first warning him or her, direct that the senator discontinue in her speech. Mr. Speaker, I listened to my good sister, Senator Naomi Wako, who we fellowship together in the Bunge Fellowship, and we share a lot. When she says that because I stand for marginalization, and she repeats that very well, that she may think otherwise or otherwise. Yes, Mr. Speaker, the irrelevance is you cannot cure one form of marginalization by creating another one. I don't think those are the Christian principles that my very good Senator, Reverend Canon, Naomi Wako, stands for.
You're out of order. You're out of order. She was just expressing her opinion. Proceed, Senator. I think you should pray more.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, when we argue here and debate, we are here to enhance oneness and unity in this country. When people feel that some areas do not need to grow and that whatever little money they have been getting needs to be reduced so that other areas can be grown, Mr. Speaker, that is very wrong. We have leaders, we have people who have struggled to be here. Mr. Speaker, in Marsabit, to date, women trek for 10 kilometers or over just to fetch 20 liters of water. That is unfortunate in our today's world. We have students who study under trees. It's not that we have not been planning and we do not want to develop our areas. It is because we have lacked resources. So those resources are that is why we are fighting for resources now, so that we can also catch up with the rest of the country. Mr. Speaker, when Senate stands here and everybody supports where he or she comes from, what will happen to the areas that we come from that, have only the county governments to support them? Others can brag and say we have ministers, we have CS, we have CAS, we have well-educated people, we have all this. But in some of these areas, we cannot talk of those things. So I support Senator Sarkarya's amendment simply because it carries the spirit of 2010 devolution, Constitution. And again, it is the only amendment that I have so far seen that carries the entire nation on the same level. I support it and will continue supporting so that all Kenyans will feel that we are united and that we are part of this country. Mr. Speaker, sometimes when we talk of equalization fund, some people say that equalization fund is there to support you. Unfortunately, we have never tested that. It has never been effected. So we cannot grow our hopes or build our hope on what we have not seen. And that is why I support Senator Sarkarya's amendment and say that reason need to guide us, and reason is the only thing that can help this country and support even the people that cannot be here today. Mr. Speaker, the issue of population, we cannot use that against others, simply because some of us are less populated today, but who knows, 5 years from today, things may be different. God is the only person, God is the only one who knows what will happen in future. So for population, we should not base so much on that. Let us put all the other perimeters into consideration and see how best the whole country will benefit. Mr. Speaker, I support Senator Sarkarya's and stand with that so that our country can be united. Thank you.
Okay, honorable senators, I think we've had a discussion on Senator Sarkarya's amendment. Now I call upon Senator Linturi to move his amendments, and you know the process. Then we'll discuss, then take a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am begged to move an amendment, the amendment by Senator John Sarkarya, MP, an amendment by Senator Sarkarya, MP, on the report of the Standing Committee on Finance, Budget, on the third basis criteria for allocation among the counties, the share of national revenue for financial years 2020, 2021, 2024, 2025. And Mr. Speaker, in the interest of time, I beg you to allow me to move this amendment by stating that the amendment be, or Sarkarya's amendment be amended by deleting Part A and replacing it with the proposal, or this proposal, my proposal, captioned on page 703, 704, 705, and 706 of today's order paper, so that, Mr. Speaker, we do not waste a lot of time, because the amendment is a 5-6 page amendment, and because every senator has the opportunity to check on the order paper, may be able to follow clearly the proposals I'm making, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, allow me say or state that today is the 8th time we are trying to unlock the stalemate around the basis of allocating resources among counties, and we have a big challenge in that resources are always limited, and there is no free lunch anywhere when it comes to public resources. Hence, the difficulties in resource sharing, which will always involve trade-offs, in the sense that when accounting gains, another must lose. However, honorable senators, allow me to bring a very important aspect in horizontal resource sharing. Global experience indicates that in any resource sharing sphere, there is need to hold harmless. Mr. Speaker, this approach of determining revenue allocation assures the existing level of service delivery is not disrupted. Indeed, there should be no drastic reduction of revenue to the county governments in order to hold them harmless in respect of their mandate to deliver their assigned functions. This will ensure that the county governments will have the ability to restructure and rationalize their budgets and operations, while at the same time have the requisite resources to perform their assigned function. Mr. Speaker, developing a formula for sharing resources must be guided by equity. Equity is not about equal portions for everyone, but getting what you deserve. Mr. Speaker, there is need to remove ambiguity and complexity when developing a formula And most importantly, there is need to address the political realities of the day. In as much as formulas have the advantage of being transparent and consistent, they can also have disadvantages because they are based on a small set of factors which may not take into consideration all the reasons why counties are different. Mr. Speaker, there has been the notion that there are some disadvantaged counties and they need more funding, while there are some disadvantaged counties and therefore need less revenues. This is not the case because a county may have fairly good roads or access to water, but very, very poor health services. On the debate of one man, 1 shilling, I want to acknowledge that population and land area are both measures of fiscal need. The more population a county has, the higher the service costs. Equally, counties with larger areas have higher costs occasioned by the vast land mass. In trying to address the county sharing resource stalemate in the country, as well as ensuring that the existing level of service delivery is not disrupted at county levels, Mr. Speaker, is the reason I seek to amend the motion by Senator Sarkarya. With my proposal, Mr. Speaker, the loss and gains nearly balance out, since there is no drastic reduction in the county allocation from the baseline of 2019-2020. For instance, the highest loss, which is for Mandera, stands at 245.26 million, while the highest gain for Kiambu County stands at $1 million, for illustration. Mr. Speaker, I would like to inform the House that currently there is no provision for the involvement of Senate in evaluating the indicators used in the parameters. To avoid the stalemate and divisiveness experienced over the past couple of months, the Senate should be involved on the indicators that are selected when coming up with a formula, and the evaluation of the same should be approved by the Senate to capture the development changes happening in the counties. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, I want to imagine, Mr. Speaker, that as we sit here as leaders of this country, we must not forget that we all belong to a one indivisible nation called Kenya. And time has come when we must be able to speak as Kenyans, as patriots, just like the fighters for independence, the Mau Maus, did, Mr. Speaker. I cannot really fathom a situation, Mr. Speaker, where a county that I represent by the name Meru County, and my nearest neighbors are Isiolo and Tharaka-Nithi. Mr. Speaker, if Tharaka-Nithi is not comfortable, if there are no resources in Tharaka-Nithi, if there are no resources in Isiolo, one thing I must always remember in my mind, that I have people from Meru living in Isiolo, people in Meru living in Tharaka-Nithi. And even with all the money that I may get, Mr. Speaker, it means that all the proliferation of people moving to Meru County to get medical services, as an example, in our level 5 hospital, will continually increase because such facilities will not be found in Tharaka-Nithi or in Isiolo just because we were not able to agree we are not able to agree by ceding some ground for them to have adequate or maintain them at a situation, at a place where they can be able to support themselves and be able to cater for their own needs. It is on this basis, Mr. Speaker, that made me think twice. And when I remember the pain that I also one time, as a legislator in this country, because I remember very well, vividly, what happened in 2008, in January, immediately after the post-election violence, when we had to sit very late in the night, Mr. Speaker, to prepare an accord to accommodate the opposition or people that had lost in an election that time, for us to bring Kenya together so that there would be no more fighting, so that there would be sobriety in Kenya, that we had to do it for the greater interest of our country. Similarly, Mr. Speaker, I feel that those members or counties that by application of this formula, if my respective senators agree to bring it on bond, must be willing to give something small to their own brothers. The others that were losing or may have lost so much must also be willing to cede ground so that we have a compromise, Mr. Speaker. It is on this basis, Mr. Speaker, that I plead with the House that today, let us rise to the occasion. Because, Mr. Speaker, the constitutional responsibility of determining this aspect of sharing revenue is on the senators. I don't want to take too much time, Mr. Speaker. I beg to move and ask my great brother from Narok, Senator Lendama Olekina, to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you. I rise to second the proposed further amendment to Senator Sarkarya's motion or proposal. Mr. Speaker, sir.
Sorry, what's your point of order?
Still speak from here, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I raise under Standing Order number 63. And Mr. Speaker, pursuant also to the provisions of the Constitution, Article 2172, Mr. Speaker, a few weeks ago, you gave directions from the chair. And the directions you gave was that any senator who is willing or who wants to bring any amendments to the committee's report, which is a derivative of the report that was submitted by the Commission on Revenue Allocation to this House, Mr. Speaker. And you ordered that any senator who wants to make amendments should also make available permutations, Mr. Speaker, for perusal by senators so that senators can be well attuned and well informed on what those amendments are, Mr. Speaker. So first, my point of order is, have those amendments that are sought, Mr. Speaker, been circulated? Number two, Mr. Speaker, is I'll be seeking your direction, Mr. Speaker, and indeed your determination, Mr. Speaker, because in Article 217(2) of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, the Senate is not allowed by the Constitution to just anyhow or from anywhere, though we are senators, come up with a resolution as the basis for sharing of revenue. It says clearly that, Mr. Speaker, and if you permit, I could read what that says, Mr. Speaker. It's a point of order, Mr. Speaker, and on a point of order, and Mr. Speaker, I've sought your permission. Mr. Speaker, 2 says that in determining the basis of revenue sharing, under clause 1, the Senate shall, and the word is shall, Mr. Speaker, request and consider recommendations from the Commission on Revenue Allocation. And it is request and consider, and the word is shall, Mr. Speaker. The direction and determination I seek from you, Mr. Speaker, one is this. When the Commission on Revenue Allocation made its recommendations to this House via the report that was brought here, the CRA based their report on the latest data available on, 1, the population, 2, poverty levels, Mr. Speaker, and also in compliance with the Statistics Act, Mr. Speaker. And the direction I seek from you then, Mr. Speaker, is this. Those permutations that have been brought to this House and the amendments under Standing Order 63, Mr. Speaker, have you determined or would you direct the House if those amendments should comply with that requirement that the data used to play the different permutations must be what the CRA has done? It has got to be the latest data available and usable by government in compliance with the Statistics Act, Mr. Speaker. And so, Mr. Speaker, if Mr. Speaker, we are going to be admitting any amendments, I would seek your direction that would allow or then disallow that to the inconsistency of the Constitution, then any senator can bring any permutation using any data or any information other than the government's own and the members of the public's own data that's available, Mr. Speaker. And that is the latest 2019, Mr. Speaker, population and the 2016 poverty levels, Mr. Speaker, data. That is the clarification I seek from you, Mr. Speaker. Whether those permutations should be in compliance with the law, with the Constitution, or they should be non-compliant with the law, Mr. Speaker.
Order members. Before the amendment was brought, it was brought to my office. It was taken to House Business Committee, who approved them, and that means that they went through the procedure that we are talking about. And it also went through the Parliamentary Budget Office.
Mr. Speaker, sir, may I proceed?
Okay, Senator Linturi, just a minute, okay. Let him, I've given him a chance, then I'll give you.
Mr. Speaker, with a lot of respect to my chair, rules, Senator Wamatangi, I would suggest, if you allow, Mr. Speaker, to kindly request the Secretariat of this Honorable House to assist Senator Wamatangi be able to go through the e-order paper to check the simulations he's talking about are captured on page 706 of today's order paper. That's what I clearly said. So they are there. And on the aspect of the recommendations of the CRI, Mr. Speaker, it is true the Constitution talks about consider recommendations. The recommendations have been taken into account. What we've just done in this formula is to vary where, for example, population or where CRI recommended error of 20, we have varied to 119 to accommodate the political realities in the country. We do not live in a vacuum. We are leaders. We hear the people. And that is why this important house, or the House of Representatives of the people, owns the sovereign will and the power of the people, and that we must exercise this for their own good. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mohamud, just a minute.
Mr. Speaker, sir, you have ruled, but my good friend Wamatangi referred to Article 217.2. In fact, in Article 96.3 and 217.2, the word is Senate determines. Senate determines the allocation between counties. Mr. Speaker, sir, I happen to have chaired that committee that time. The proposals that came from CRA was subjected to public participation, and we did all through. Where we are now, we are at the Senate determining the basis of allocation between two counties. I will beg my friends not to delay us.
Senator Wamatangi, order. You know you also have an amendment on the order paper. There is also a leader of minority who has an amendment on the order paper, and I've gone through the same process. So why don't we proceed? You will have an opportunity at the end of it to take a vote.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Senator Wamatangi.
Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker,
Okay,
sir.
what is it, Senator Wamatangi? I hope it's not on the same. I hope it's not on the same. Just an order. I hope it's not on the same what I've already given a ruling, Senator Wamatangi.
Mr. Speaker, with tremendous respect, and you have said to all the senators, Mr. Speaker, a few minutes ago you said every senator given permission by yourself has a right to speak. There is absolutely no reason why Senator Murkomen and the others should be mobbing while you have given me the opportunity to stand. Mr. Speaker, all I sought, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, is simple. Because it is your rule, and was your ruling that you said that Senator simulations in advance. Mr. Speaker, the only thing I sought from you, because we are required to do our simulations around what the CRA has made, Mr. Speaker, the question, Mr. Speaker, I've posed to you is very simple, Mr. Speaker. If a senator, Mr. Speaker, then just gets any figures from anywhere, Mr. Speaker, are those allowed to be permutations, Mr. Speaker, or should we be in compliance with the law? Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, we shall be coming up with permutations that are illegal, Mr.
Order,
Speaker.
Senator Wamatangi.
That are unlawful, Mr. Speaker.
Order, Senator Wamatangi, please. I have given a ruling on that. Let us proceed. You will have an opportunity to make a vote on this, Senator Wamatangi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. May I now proceed to second this further amendment to Senator Sarkarya's proposal? Mr. Speaker, sir, as I agreed to second this proposal by my dear friend from the great people of Meru. I did so because I want us to have a way forward. Mr. Speaker, sir, in Senator Sarkarya's proposal, we had a formula which was Y = A + B. Mr. Speaker, sir, if you may protect me.
Order, senators. Let's consult in low tones.
So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I've looked at the proposal which have been suggested by my good friend, and it gives us a way forward. If you look at the amendments, or rather the proposals by the committee, they were creating a huge disparity in this country. Mr. Speaker, sir, when some of us were bringing in our own amendments, we wanted a situation where we can minimize the losses. What Senator Linturi has done is to try and bring sanity and to ensure that we are one nation. Mr. Speaker, sir, if you compare, and I have a lot of respect for Senator Wamatangi, and I had him quoting the Constitution and looking at the parameters. What we are doing in this House is that we are taking into consideration the proposals given to us by CRA, and we've made changes to them. Mr. Speaker, sir, if you go through the parameters, and this is why I feel greatly honored to further second the amendments brought by Senator Linturi, is because they have reduced the disparity. Mr. Speaker, sir, where a county was losing 2 billion, a county is now losing 177 million. This will help that county continue with their services uninterrupted. Mr. Speaker, sir, where Narok County was losing 853 million, with the proposal brought by my dear brother here, I'm now only losing 130. Mr. Speaker, sir, Article 217 talks of a basis. It doesn't even talk of a formula. It talks of a basis. And that is why we came with the base and say, what Senator Linturi is now proposing is that we have a base of 270 billion, which should be shared with all the counties. And then the different, the 41.6 billion, be applied using the following parameters. Where CRA, or rather where the committee had proposed that we consider the population with 16%, Senator Linturi has maintained that parameter. Where he said health at 20%, Senator Linturi has gone down by 1% to 19%. Mr. Speaker, sir, where it has actually helped us a lot is really squarely on the land parameter, where the committee was bringing it down to 5% and capping it down and also introducing a square root. Senator Linturi has gone further and now said, let us maintain what the CRA recommended. Mr. Speaker, sir, when I hear us talking about the issue of data, statistics, I wonder which country in the whole world that promotes devolution, that reduces a county into a square root, into a circle. Mr. Speaker, sir, that data does not exist. So when my dear friend and colleague talks about data, I think I would be very happy to see a data that is brought into this House that says reduce the size of Narok from a 17,000 square kilometer to 146 square root. Mr. Speaker, sir, this proposal is giving us a way out. One of the reasons why I agreed to support Senator Linturi is because when I looked at the recommendation, they had a rider. They said government to apply another 15% to cushion counties. That advised my amendments, which are still on the order paper, which I may now consider once we are done with this, took about 10% of that to cushion counties losing. But what Senator Linturi did is that he said, we don't want people to say they are losers and they are winners. Let us use this base of 270 billion, and the 46 billion, let us use so that those ones who are gaining so much gain just a little. Those who are losing, lose just a little. And Mr. Speaker, sir, those numbers are here. If you look at the county that loses the most is Mandara, which now loses only 245 million shillings. And the county that gains the most is the county of Kiambu, which my dear good friend, Senator Wamatangi, comes from, which now gains 160 million shillings. Mr. Speaker, sir, I've listened to various arguments. I've listened to arguments of population. And it really begs the question. If population equals the amount of revenue that a county generates, why is it that only 5 counties out of the 47 counties only raise revenue above 1 billion shillings? So, Mr. Speaker, sir, this is an issue that we all must be willing to lose some and win some, gain some and lose some. This is the way forward. This is a position for us now to also relax our position. Mr. Speaker said the best option was Sarkarya's option, where no county was losing. Every county was gaining. But now when they bring in the other issues of population increase and everything, we said, okay, fair enough. Let's do this. We are willing to recede our ground and say, let us now admit what my dear brother, Senator Linturi, and I thank the people of Meru. And I want to tell the people of Meru that they have a senator, a leader, who clearly reads Article 96 of the Constitution, that is here to protect the interests of counties and their government. Mr. Speaker, sir, I raised issues. When I came into this house, the first thing I said is that this is indeed the House of Union. Because it doesn't matter how many you are. There's only one delegation, one vote. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, what Senator Linturi is doing to this country is giving us a way forward. Because those who are supporting the committee report are doing so not knowing, or rather knowing, that they'll create a huge disparity in this country. What Senator Linturi has done is something honorable. And that is why I stand here today proudly to say that I second his further amendment to our position because it unites this country. A child in Mandera, whose governor has already made a budget to ensure that the child in the farthest part of
Senator Orengo,
Mandera...
what's your intervention? Is it now? Okay, I can see you.
Of order after he finishes.
Okay.
I don't want to interfere. Yes, sir.
Mr. Speaker, sir, a child in Mandera deserves everything that a child in Kiambu has, or an opportunity. It saddens me when I hear debates where people keep on talking about, forgetting about them. If we were indeed genuine, what we should be doing is to make sure that a child in Mandera can be able to say, I have a brother in Meru, I have a brother in Narok. And that brother in Narok or Meru can be able to get access to the same services that I have here. Mr. Speaker, sir, Senator Linturi's proposal, and I want to tell Kenyans this, now softens our ground. Because we were of the opinion that since there's no more revenue being collected because of COVID and other circumstances, which also include corruption, what we can do now is, since we cannot continue getting the same amount of money that we are getting in the last financial year, since that one is making other people think that, no, it's not the way to go, or there are more Kenyans than others, those who are gaining, gain a little. Those who are losing, lose a little. Mr. Speaker, sir, in my proposals, actually, it was only going to cushion counties that were losing. But when I saw Senator Linturi's proposal, then I said it's a win-win situation for everyone. And that is what even our other leaders outside there have been talking about. Win-win. Everybody should be happy. We all go home. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, as I finalize, I want to beseech my dear colleagues from both sides of the aisle for you to think about this country as one, not as those who have and those who have none, but as a country that can be able to accept that change is the only thing which is constant, and that since we cannot be able to raise more revenue, let us go with this further amendment brought by Senator Linturi, who is from Meru, so that the Marians in Narok, who are doing great business there, can be welcomed there. And they cannot be seen as if you guys are coming here to make money from us, but when we generate more revenue, you do not want to support us. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, as I finalize, I really want to remind all Kenyans, and particularly the representatives in this House, that unless we can be sober and agree to respect the doctrine of separation of powers as leaders, we will not be doing anything. It is about time, Mr. Speaker, sir, that this House stands as a Senate of the Republic of Kenya, make decisions which are solely sound and supported by facts.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I second.
Senator Orengo, what's your point of order?
Sorry.
Okay, order, senators. Order. You will have an opportunity. Honorable senators, I now propose the question, which is that the amendment by Senator Johnson Sarkarya, MP, to the motion on the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget in the third basis for allocating among the counties the share of national revenue for financial year 2020-2021 to 2024-2025 be amended in the manner proposed by Senator Mithiki Linturi, MP, as appears in the order paper. Senator Orengo.
Mr. Speaker, I am grateful for being given this chance. Mr. Speaker, on the floor is the motion by Senator Sarkarya to amend the motion coming from the Finance Committee. And right now we're debating an amendment to that amendment. I beseech you, Mr. Speaker, to give some directions about time so that we limit debate on the motion on amendment to the amendment, and then on the motion to the amendment to the motion. Otherwise, you know, the business which is before the House is the substantive motion. So we may be thinking that we're doing some business, but the serious business before the House has not been touched. So although I would want to say some things about the particular amendment to the amendment, but I think you need to give us like 3 minutes each. No, I think 3 minutes. Because there's amendment to the amendment, 3 minutes, and then the amendment itself, and then the motion itself. So I think 3 minutes is sufficient. Yeah.
I'll give 3 minutes. Because the interests are many, and like I said, we are debating this amendment, then there's the amendment to Sarkarya's, then there's the motion, and then you will need to vote. No, we are all saying the same things. But 3 minutes. Senator Malala. What's your point of order, Senator Wamatangi?
Mr. Speaker, my point of order is now that, and you may rule me, Mr. Speaker, either out of order or whichever way, Mr. Speaker, but my point of order is, now that it has been clarified by the seconder of the motion by Senator Linturi, and he has clarified to this House that what Senator Linturi seeks to do is to create a base of 270 billion to divide revenue using the old formula which used the old data, Mr. Speaker. That's my question. Mr. Speaker, the question my point of order is, Mr. Speaker, to be ruled by yourself, Mr. Speaker, whether, Mr. Speaker, that is what you sought as the Speaker of the House when permutations and simulations to this motion, Mr. Speaker. My question, Mr. Speaker, is your direction. Your direction, Mr. Speaker, whether because now it has been clarified that what Senator Linturi seeks to do is to create that base as 270 billion to divide that revenue using the old formula and the old data, Mr. Speaker. Is that what the Speaker of the House of Senate sought when he told members to bring simulations and to bring, Mr. Speaker,
keep it short,
their own ideas, Mr. Speaker, about how the formula should be made. And my problem, Mr. Speaker, if you understand me, is because I believe I cannot just go and fish figures from anywhere and say this should be the formula. So we need direction from you Is this what you wanted when you invited for permutations?
Okay, order, said order, Senator Wamatangi. Senator Dulo.
Mr. Speaker, I think Senator Senator Wamatangi is out of order because he's challenging your ruling and your decision. And that is my position.
I think I gave direction on that matter. So I think I propose that we proceed. I'll give each 5 minutes. If you can finish, maximum of 5, so that you also condense what you want to say. Senator Malala, then Senator Kajwang from the other chamber should be coming closer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support the amendment by Senator Sarkarya and Senator Linturi, and my argument is premised on the following argument. Mr. Speaker, when we promulgated our new constitution in the year 2010, we celebrated specifically Article 174 on the objects of devolution. Part G, Mr. Speaker, specifically addresses the issue that we need to ensure equitable sharing of national and local resources throughout Kenya. Mr. Speaker, today, Senate is at a stalemate because of 15% of the national resources, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the big question should be, where is the 85%? People are advocating here for 1 vote, 1 man, 1 shilling, Mr. Speaker. I wish they transfer the same spirit to the 85% that is remaining at the national government. Mr. Speaker, I want to remind this nation that in 2013, I was the writer of a play called Shackles of Doom. Shackles of Doom addressed issues of an equal distribution of resources in this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when you go to Turkana County right now, they have immense minerals. But the people who are benefiting from Turkana minerals are not the Turkanas, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when you go to Taita Taveta, they have immense resources in terms of gemstone. But the people benefiting from Taita Taveta are not the people from Taita Taveta. Mr. Speaker, when you come to Ikolomani and Rosterman in Kakamega County, we have immense of gold, but the people benefiting out of the gold of Kakamega are not the lawyers of Kakamega. And therefore, the spirit that you are pushing of 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote should be translated to the 85% that remains at the national level. Mr. Speaker, it is sad. Kakamega County is being dangled with a carrot of 400 million. Yet, Mr. Speaker, the Kakamega Lurambi Navaholo Road, C41, has taken 7 years to be completed, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have a road from Ibokolo to Shianda to Malaha, which has taken 6 years. Recently, we saw a project in one constituency in Kiambu County costing 11 billion, taking only 1 year, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there comes a time when the real people of Kenya must rise to the occasion and defend this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as we speak right now, in Western Region, Bungoma County, Busia County, Kakamega County, Vihiga County, we have no flagship project that has been initiated and finished within these 10 years, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, our industries are on our knees.
What's your point
I
of
will
order,
only
Senator
accept,
Wamatangi?
Mr. Speaker.
There's a point of order there. Give him the mic. Okay.
No, Mr. Speaker, on two issues, because according to our standing orders, Mr. Speaker, it behoves the senator to substantiate if he makes one allegations or makes any claims. Mr. Speaker, it is important. When Senator Malala claims that he has seen a project in Kiambu worth 11 billion, taking 1 year, it is the responsibility of the senator, Mr. Speaker, according to our standing orders, to substantiate. He should be able to substantiate, otherwise withdraw, because there's no such project, Mr. Speaker. And number two, Mr. Speaker, it's also, Mr. Speaker, we have the standing order on relevance, Mr. Speaker. Is Senator Malala in order, Mr. Speaker? Because what he's just going to do is to hype emotions and look political and suave in speaking. But he should speak to issues, Mr. Speaker. But most of all, let him pinpoint which project is it that he saw in Kiambu that took 1 year. But I want to inform him, because he came to the House the other day, Mr. Speaker, that as the chairman of roads, Mr. Speaker, I am the one who inspected the project in Kakamega, that of the road that starts from Kisumu to his own county, Mr. Speaker, which has been finished in less than 2 years, Mr. Speaker.
What's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, my point of order, I said very clearly that Senator Malala should substantiate the projects he said he saw taking 1 year, worth 11 billion, Mr. Speaker, but also to inform him, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, Senator Malala, you have the order. Let's consult in low tones. What's your point of order, Senator Murkomen?
Mr. Speaker, you have been very strict on point of orders, especially when I raise them. And you've seen, Mr. Speaker, I've been very careful not to raise any point of order. I've even been reprimanded in this House by Senator Orengo, who said that when people are making these kinds of debate, we should not entertain too many point of orders. Senator Wamatangi has taken over 20 minutes, Mr. Speaker, since the beginning of this debate on point of orders. Can you, Mr. Speaker, bring the House, and all of them are not point of orders, they're point of debate. Can you, Mr. Speaker, because we are now operating within 5 minutes, can you give a chance to every senator who will have an opportunity to speak, Mr. Speaker, to speak without these unnecessary interruptions?
Okay, order, members. I'm happy, order. I'm happy that that observation is coming from Senator Murkomen. Order. Can you take your seats? Senator. Order, Senator Orengo.
Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to take on from where Senator Murkomen has left. Normally, by General Convention of Parliaments, a point of order that takes more than 30 seconds to prosecute is not a point of order. It should be short, precise. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, I think it is important that the rule applies universally. Yeah, so that when somebody stands on a point of order, it should be like a missile, 30 seconds. Otherwise, the debate will not be a debate. It will be points of order. So I seek your indulgence, Mr. Speaker.
That is going to apply from now. Senator Malala.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure they wanted to derail my thought process, but I am steady on this matter, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I said I will not take a mere 405 million shillings for Kakamega. Yet our farmers in Kakamega, Bungoma, Busia, our sugarcane farmers have not been paid, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we want, Mr. Speaker, to think nationalistic, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is a high time that we derive our argument from our national anthem and our first 3 lines on our national anthem. O God of creation, bless this our land and nation. Justice be our shield and our defender. I want to remind our colleagues, Mr. Speaker, that leadership comes from God. And the same God in the Bible, Proverbs 31:9, says, open your mouth, judge righteously, and defend the rights of the poor and needy. Mr. Speaker, it will be immoral and ungodly for me, the senator of Kakamega, who got my leadership from God, to take away money from Turukana and bring it to Kakamega. It will be ungodly for me, the senator for Kakamega, to take food from a hungry child of Marsabit and take it to Bungoma County. It is ungodly, Mr. Speaker, for me to take medicine from a patient from Tana River and take it to Kiambu. Mr. Speaker, as I finish, I want to remind.
Your time is up.
I want.
Senator Kajwang.
Just as leadership, Mr. Speaker.
No.
30 seconds, Mr. Speaker.
No.
Mr. Speaker, I'm in leadership. I wish.
Order. Order,
Mr.
Senator.
Speaker.
Order. Order, senators. Order, take your seat. I'm on the floor. I don't think you will say what you have not said in 1 minute. So take your seat. I want to be fair to all senators, and I'm going to be strict. Take your seat. Senator Kajwang.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to oppose this amendment. Mr. Speaker, because there are many Kenyans who do not understand where we are and what we are dealing with. I am opposing Linturi's amendment to Sarkarya's amendment to Kibiru's amendment. Mr. Speaker, we have confused this nation. The Kibiru formula was at some point called the Linturi formula because it is Senator Linturi who introduced the square root, which had an adverse effect on numbers for certain counties. Mr. Speaker, the report, the parent motion that these amendments seek to amend were done by Senator Linturi. Now he has brought a further amendment, bringing a different basis for consideration, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senator Ledama Olekina, my friend, who has seconded this motion, this amendment, has an amendment on the order paper. He wants to amend the Kibiru report. Now he supports Linturi's amendment of Sarkarya's amendment of Kibiru's report. Mr. Speaker, this is not the manner in which you're supposed to do a formula that is supposed to drive this country into the next 5 years. If you ask people how we ended up with 47 county governments in this republic, no one will give you the basis. Because people sat in a smoke-filled room and started haggling and trying to find out how they're going to balance interests. And so we said, let's have 47 counties instead of 9 counties or instead of 30 counties. This is the same method that we are using to determine a formula for allocation of revenue. Mr. Speaker, I oppose this amendment because Homa Bay County is bound to lose 29.14 million. And a conversation where there are winners and there are losers is a conversation, Mr. Speaker, that is not healthy for this country. I want to disagree with those who believe that Senate determines the formula or the basis at the exclusion of the public. Mr. Speaker, there is no decision that we are mandated to make without reference to the public and the people who gave us the opportunity to sit in this House. That is why the first article in our Constitution talks about we the people. How can people go and sit under a tree and come up with a formula? And Mr. Speaker, this is the 10th formula, and this is the 8th meeting. How do you sit under a tree, bring an amendment to this House that will determine how money is shared without subjecting it to a process? Why did we establish the Commission for Revenue Allocation? If Senator Linturi is the expert in these matters, let's abolish the CRA and let's have Senator Linturi running the CRA. Mr. Speaker, this being the 10th formula, I want to assure you that if we continue this way, I will also come up with a formula. They have said one man, 1 shilling. I am going to say 1 fish, 1 shilling. Because this formula, Mr. Speaker, does not take into account the interests of fisher folk. And that is why Mombasa County gets only 40 million on agriculture. That is the Kibiru formula. And yet the people of Mombasa are fishers. Mr. Speaker, Homa Bay has the largest share of Lake Victoria. The fishing community has not been taken into account. Let us sober up. Otherwise, I'll be talking of 1 fish, 1 shilling, so that we have one that is fair.
Senator Cherargei.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Speaker. From the onset, I want to oppose all the amendments from Linturi, Sarkarya amendment, because there are 2 things that are important. One, there is no public participation that was done. These were numbers that were done through Mandazi Monix discussion somewhere. We don't have the basis that is already there. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, I have had many people misleading the country. Marsabit, Turkana, and Wajir form 33% of land in this republic. 8% as provided for out of 316 billion, Mr. Speaker, goes to 25.3 billion. A third, which is Marsabit, Turkana, and Wajir, get 8.3 billion.
Senator Wambua should start coming. 16
billion are only left to 44 counties. Madam, Mr. Speaker, we will be lying to country. We have said money follow functions. And that is why some of us have said population. In Nandi, for example, per square kilometer, Mr. Speaker, is 310. In Marsabit, which is the largest, 6 kilometers per square kilometer, Mr. Speaker. So what do you do when you have more people that is needed in Nandi? And Mr. Speaker, secondly, as we talk today, the entire of North Rift, the 2016-2015 poverty index in Rift Valley and Masoi North Rift has gone up. Why, Mr. Speaker? Because agriculture is in ICU. And when we talk about agriculture, it is about livestock and fisheries. Fisheries is part of blue economy, Mr. Speaker. No, Bado?
Oh, continue. Is it?
No, it's not. I did not see the... Yeah? Mr. Speaker, finally, I want to say this. Whether you want to intimidate...
Oh, this time is not yet up, please.
So, Mr. Speaker, the issue on agriculture in North Rift, especially in Nandi, is ICU, in the ICU. Tea sector, coffee, maize, and dairy. That is why poverty in Nandi is very high. And that is why, as the senator of Nandi, I will not sit back and cede ground for 1.4 billion that was meant by Nandi to be taken away. That is our rightful share. The reason I was is to push for the interest and cushion farmers that today the farming business in North Rift is in the ICU. The poverty index is very high. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to conclude by these remarks. When the results for 2019 census, which Kibiru, which Linturi and Sarkarya are telling us use 2009 census, yet we have 2019 census. They are telling us you 2009 poverty index, yet we have 2015-2016 census. Mr. Speaker, when the results for 2019 census exercise were released, they confirmed that Mandera and Turkana counties do not have as many people as poor or marginalized as the frontline census of 2009 had shown. The same results also show that the true headquarters of poverty and marginalization in Kenya oscillates in the areas around Bungoma, Busia, Kisumu, and Migori. Tragically, despite all these statistics, has managed to establish these statistics, our colleagues have managed to establish a Team Kenya outfit in the Senate to do its bidding for more resources at the expense of the truly poor people of Kenya. So I want the senators of Bungoma and Busia to listen very carefully. Poverty and marginalization is more in Western than it is in Northeastern. Let us stop these lies of misleading Kenyans. Let us stop this, Mr. Speaker, and I oppose.
Your time is up. Senator Wambua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to make a contribution to this debate. The Speaker, from the word go, the Speaker, I will be asking that the Senator of Kitui be heard in silence. The Speaker, from the word go, I want to thank the Senator of Meru, Senator Linturi, for coming up with a motion on further amendment to the by Senator Sarkarya. The Speaker, before these amendments came, and I want to state very clearly that I am in full support of the further amendments. The Speaker, before these amendments came to the floor, the committee motion was inviting the Senator of Kitui County to pass a formula or a basis for sharing revenue, which will occasion a loss of 432 million Kenya shillings from Kitui County, Mr. Speaker. And that is not even the problem. The problem, Mr. Speaker,
is a comparison that I want to give on the floor of this House, so that, Mr. Speaker, we disabuse this narrative about one man, one vote, one shilling. Mr. Speaker, Kitui County, as of 30,496 square kilometers, a size, land size. Compare that size to the size of Kirinyaga County, which is 1,400 square kilometers. Kitui County, Mr. Speaker, is more than 20 times, in terms of land size, bigger than Kirinyaga County. When it comes to population, I have a population of 1.14 million people. Kirinyaga County has a population of slightly above 800,000 people. So my county is also almost double in terms of population compared to Kirinyaga. But, Mr. Speaker, you can never explain what formula the committee brought here that tells me with that land size and that population compared to Kirinyaga, I am supposed to lose 432 million Kenya shillings, but Kirinyaga gains 762 million shillings. Mr. Speaker, it's a fallacy. It's a fallacy, Mr. Speaker. And I want to restate what Senator Sarkarya said when he was moving the motion. Perhaps if there was a motion on the floor of this House, Mr. Speaker, on one man, one vote, one shilling, I could have brought an amendment to that motion and say, okay, fine, let's do one man, one vote, one shilling, 1 kilometer. So that what counties lose in population, they gain in land size. And what counties lose in land size, they gain in population. But there was never that proposal on the floor of this House. The Speaker, the drafters of the 2010 Constitution, they were inspired by a deep desire to correct the mistakes that were visited on the people of this country by the sessional paper number 10 of 1965 by Minister Tom Mboya on issues to do with development. Mr. Speaker, it is not the mistake of the people of Marsabit that the colonial railway line does not pass through their land. It is not the mistake of the people of Kitui that we receive erratic rainfall. You can't make a decision on development and allocation of resources based on parameters that people have no control over. The Speaker, Article 61, 1 of the Constitution, states very clearly that all the land in Kenya belongs to the people of Kenya as a nation, as communities, and as private individuals. The people in Marsabit are Kenyans just as much as the people of Nairobi are Kenyans. And the Speaker, we can never elevate the issue of population over and above all other parameters to the extent that the people who have suffered marginalization over the years continue to suffer. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the senators who have stood for Kenya. Senators who have said, although they are gaining money, they will make sure that no county will lose any money. Mr. Speaker.
Your time is up. Senator Kangata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm only opposing this motion for only one reason, not two, which is, once we pass this motion or this amendment, Mandera County is going to lose today 245 million. Kwale County is going to lose today 177 million. Wajir County is going to lose 175 million today, not tomorrow, not next year. Marsabit County is going to lose 156 million, not tomorrow, today. Kilifi County, Kilifi, my brothers in Coast, you are going to lose today 153 million. Mombasa County, you are going to lose
Today, not tomorrow. 135 million.
Where are your mask?
Narok County, Mr. Speaker.
Where are your mask?
Narok County. Narok County is going to lose 130 million. The seconder of this motion is telling the people of Narok, I want to lose 130 million today, not tomorrow. Not tomorrow. In Makueni County is saying, I want to lose 107 million today, not tomorrow. Murang'a County, they want to make Murang'a County to lose 15 million today, not tomorrow. I wish, by the way, you agree to my motion, which was proposed in at least 2 years. Surely, I'm sure Makueni people where you are seated, you want money to build their hospitals. Your budget is going to be disrupted.
What's your point of order, Senator
if this
Dulo?
motion passes today.
Order.
The people of Narok, you are going to lose.
Senator Kangata, it's a point of order. And let it be a point of order.
Mr. Speaker, is Senator Kangata right in misleading Kenyans? Because when he's talking of losing in comparison to what, he needs to explain that. Thank you.
Senator Kangata.
No, Mr. Speaker.
Okay,
Mr. Speaker,
there's another point of order.
Allow me to finish.
Senator.
There's a habit, and you know, Fatuma Dulo, Senator, is the deputy leader of the majority. He has stood up on a point of order. She has stood up on a point of order. Now, what was the basis of that point of order? I mean, it was an argument. Yeah, it was an argument. And this is why I'm pleading. Actually, I'm pleading that we allow everybody to say what they have to say, and then we proceed.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, sir. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, sir, we had so many amendments to this motion. This is the only motion or amendment that is going to make senators to lose money today after we pass it. I wish, by the way, you pass my motion, which was giving 2 years grace period. But now, this one passes. Narok, the second of this motion, you lose money today, not tomorrow, not next year. I don't understand. Makueni loses money. Immediately we pass this one. It means the people of Makueni are going to lose resources, which would have gone to build hospitals today, which would have gone to assist the people of Makueni today, not tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, sir, I better even prefer Sarkarya's motion than this one. I swear, if I was because now for the first time, Murang'a County is going to lose. The move of this motion wants to make Murang'a people lose 15 million today, not tomorrow. If I was to be told, can you choose this one and Sarkarya, I would go with Sarkarya. But this one, Makueni brother, you're being told to lose money today. This one, by the way, I better go back. I better go back to Sarkarya, but not dare touch this one. Unless you want the people of these counties, which are listed here, to lose money today, not tomorrow. Thank you.
Senator Murkomen, what's your point of order? We said we minimize points of order so that we're able to contribute. Okay. Yes, you are not on mic.
No point of order.
Mr. Speaker, you know I rarely, if ever, stand on frivolous points of order. Part 17 of our standing orders are about rules of debate. I've had 3 senators now. I think Senator Kangata, Senator Cherargei, and others shouting, when passing their point. I know it's an emotive issue, Mr. Speaker, but would you just advise members, because Mr. Speaker, many times your volume is conversely proportional to the point you're making.
Order,
Mr.
Senator.
Speaker, they're just raising emotions for no reason. We have rules of decorum.
Order, Senator Sarkarya. Order. What is your point of order? Huh? What's your point of order? Yeah.
course, you know the point. You know, volume and sense don't many times go together. Add the strength of your debate. Mr. Speaker, kindly just moderate the House, because Kenyans are watching. It's an emotive issue, and you're raising emotions for no reason. And many points that Kangata said I agree with, but I don't agree with some. That doesn't mean I need to shout him down. So please, Mr. Speaker, we need decorum in this House. This is a House that Kenyans are looking up to, Mr. Speaker.
No, but order. Let me say this. You cannot control somebody's volume, and people have made differently. There are people who will whisper, there are people who will talk differently. Those are personal human attributes that continue, Senator Murkomen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, from the onset, I want to say...
In the meantime, Senator Ochilo Ayako from the outer...
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From the onset, I want to say I support the amendment of Senator Linturi. And Mr. Speaker, my support is necessitated by the spirit of give and take, because, Mr. Speaker, the ideal position would have been to go with the amendment of Senator Sarkarya as it is, but because, Mr. Speaker, some counties wanted to start earning, Mr. Speaker, a higher allocation based on the new formula, and that we needed to mitigate the losses that the other counties were getting, Mr. Speaker, I support this amendment. Mr. Speaker, the promise of developmental devolution, Mr. Speaker, in our Constitution is based on equitable distribution of resources. Devolution, Mr. Speaker, was to bring the areas that were called ASAL areas, Mr. Speaker, back to the center. Devolution, Mr. Speaker, was supposed to stop this idea that when one left Lodwar, Mr. Speaker, to come to Nairobi, they usually used to say, I am leaving Lodwar to go to Kenya. Mr. Speaker, the Constitution wanted to create an environment where Wajir County, Tana River, Mr. Speaker, someone in Hola, Mr. Speaker, someone who is in Mwabingu, Mr. Speaker, in Taita Taveta, or someone, Mr. Speaker, who is taught in Elgeyo Marakwet County, would feel, Mr. Speaker, that they are part and parcel of the country called Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I wish the debate about, Mr. Speaker, allocation of resources was being done somewhere in Wajir County, or in Garissa, Mr. Speaker, or in Tana River, or somewhere, Mr. Speaker, in Samburu. Mr. Speaker, it's unfortunate that we are doing it in Nairobi, very beautiful place and its environs. And there's a reason why Nairobi has the highest population, Mr. Speaker. There's a reason why Kiambu has the highest population. There's a reason why Uasin Gishu has the highest population. There's a reason why Mombasa has a high population, Mr. Speaker. The reason being that these are areas that are greater promise because the government from colonial times invested in these areas. Mr. Speaker, the Constitution, through devolution, wanted to open up new areas of development, Mr. Speaker, so that in future the population of Isiolo will increase, Mr. Speaker, because opportunities have been created in Isiolo. Mr. Speaker, I have been asked many questions about why I support, Mr. Speaker, this motion, and why Elgeyo Marakwet is gaining money. And I'm opposed, Mr. Speaker, to a formula that makes the other counties lose 2 billion. Mr. Speaker, I want to reiterate what I said already to the public. The people of Elgeyo Marakwet sent me to the Senate, not, Mr. Speaker, to fight for resources with my fellow counties, Mr. Speaker. It was not so that I can go back to them and tell them, behold, I have brought you money that was meant for Tana River. I have brought you money that was meant for Taita Taveta. I have brought you money that was meant for Isiolo or Samburu, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the primary responsibility of this House under Article 96 should be to fight for greater allocation to the county governments. Mr. Speaker, that goes to the county government is higher, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there has also been this argument that has been presented that insofar as devolution is concerned, the people who are in higher population areas are the ones who raise more money. That's not true. Mr. Speaker, Mombasa County perhaps generates higher revenue to this country than, Mr. Speaker, many of the counties that are boasting of higher population. Narrow County, which was supposed to lose under the Kibiru's formula and the committee formula, Mr. Speaker, almost $1 billion. Mr. Speaker, generates more money through Masai Mara, Mr. Speaker. And yet we want to sit here and say we want to deprive the people of Taita Taveta, despite the fact that Savo National Park feeds the national, Mr. Speaker, treasury a lot of resources. That's why I stand here to say, because injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, it's my responsibility to exercise my duty as a national patriot that, Mr. Speaker, if more money have to go to Elgeyo Marakwet County, it should not be at the expense of our sister counties that are missing development. And if national government really loves Elgeyo Marakwet County, why give us 300 million and steal from us Aurora and Kimware Dam of 63 billion, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, marginalize that county because the argument has always been it's a smaller county, we should not give them bigger development. If national government want to show their love for Elgeyo Marakwet County, let them implement Aurora and Kimware Dam. Mr. Speaker, I support.
Senator Ayako, just hold yourself a bit. I would like to give this opportunity to Senator Haniri.
Madam Speaker, I rise to move a procedural motion. I realize that we have amendments on top of amendments even before we get to the main motion. And we anticipate that we may not be able to conclude debate at the rise of the House at 6:30. I therefore rise to move that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 31, paragraph 3A, the Senate resolves to extend its sitting until conclusion of business listed as order number 8 in the order paper of today. Madam Speaker, my intention is that I believe we have to conclude this matter today. We have procrastinated this matter for far too long, and in the meantime, counties are suffering. We have to conclude on this matter either way. Let the losers, let the majority have their way and the minority have their say, but somehow we have to conclude the matter. Madam Speaker, also, last time I moved this kind of motion, it was approved by the House, but then the Speaker was in the chair adjourned before we concluded the matter and before even putting the question to the House if they wanted to adjourn. My understanding is that if the House resolves and passes my motion, we have to sit until conclusion. If not, then the House has to resolve again that we adjourn, not the Speaker. That's my understanding. I stand to be corrected. I beg to move, Madam Speaker.
Second. Okay, Senator Orengo.
I wish to second the motion, but just add that we should conclude the business in order number 8. That is on the formula. Because if you look at the order paper, the business is expansive. Yeah, order number 8, that I accept. That I accept. But I also want to put to you, Madam Speaker, that because of the regulation, let's finish, but try to finish before the curfew. I am quite in agreement that we should finish, but let's finish before the curfew, so that anybody who is contributing, including myself, should be aware of those guidelines. And I'm not saying this because I don't want the business to be finished, but I think it is a good example that we can be able to do this business and finish it. Even me, I'm tired. I want this thing to be over today.
Honorable Senators, I now propose that pursuant to Standing Order 31.3.1a, the Senate resolves to extend its sitting until the conclusion of business listed in order number 8 in today's order paper. I put the question. Unless it is added. We can add it. Honorable Senators, I now put the question that pursuant to Standing Order 31.3a, the Senate resolves to extend its sitting until the conclusion of business listed in order number 8 in today's order paper. May as many as are of the opinion say aye. Aye. And those of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Chilo Ayako.
I'm just about to scoop. I'm waiting for Speaker before.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to oppose the motion that has been brought by Senator Linturi. I oppose it on the basis that, Madam Speaker, if you look at the Constitution of Kenya, Madam Speaker, it is very clear at Article 201 that it is important to have public participation. It's also important to have many activities under that particular proviso as it relates to matters public finance. Madam Speaker, I am in doubt whether Linturi's formula had the benefit of public participation. Having said that, Madam Speaker, I want to go on record that what we are debating here is false. What in here is mischaracterized. What we are debating here is a fallacy, and this is the fallacy. We are debating a decision that Senate must make under Article 217 of the Constitution, the formula or the basis upon which revenues collected nationally and shared between national government and county government should be shared among counties. Madam Speaker, my county of Migori is 7 years old. Mandera County is 7 years old. Busia County is 7 years old. Nairobi County and all these counties are 7 years old. I have heard words and phrases being bandied around here that one county has marginalized the other. We are age mates. We have been given birth to and we have been made effective by the Constitution of 2010. The marginalization that is being talked about here is an issue that is older than counties and cannot be addressed in this formula. This formula must be a fair formula, must be an equitable formula, must be a formula that addresses our ages, addresses our populace, addresses our level of development, but we cannot introduce issues of marginalizations that were started by the colonialists, started by the national governments of times before us, and convolute this debate and make it a fallacy. The counties here have no capacity. Kiambu has no capacity to marginalize Migori. Mandera cannot marginalize Migori. Mombasa can't marginalize Migori. So I am deeply saddened when I'm accused of marginalizing any county. How do I do it? I just want a simple formula where each county would get something that under that formula is the basis upon which they should be having their money. So, Madam Speaker, when we introduce marginalization, we are talking a fallacy, we are distorting facts, and we are distorting so many things. And just to talk about marginalization, Migori County has a place called Kuria that only recently received the first kilometer of tarmac road. Nyatike in Migori County, sub-county, has never had tarmac since they had. So, but that is not blamable on any county here. So this fallacy that we keep on talking about which county has marginalized the other is wrong. The right thing is that we have a numerator that has not changed. The money shareable has not changed, but we are being asked to change the denominator. And once we do that, the numerator, if it doesn't change, then monies allocated to counties are going to change. We like it or we don't. So, Madam Speaker, I want to invite my colleagues to come back to reality. Let us restrict our debate to counties and what is available for sharing. If national government has been taking our counties, after passing this formula in the manner the committee proposed, let us collectively approach the national government to help us change the numerator. Let us not fight among ourselves. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator for Tharaka Nithi, Senator Kindiki Kithure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker, Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I support the amendment brought by the Senator for Meru, my neighbor, on the motion or the amendment brought by Senator Sarkarya, my friend. And both these two senators, my colleagues, have shown that the future of this country is bright. These are fairly young members of this House, but looking at the future of our country very carefully. Madam Speaker, the reason why I support this amendment and not the previous ones is because all the previous proposals were based on a wrong principle. And the principle was you must remove money from County A to be able to benefit County B. That principle is wrong. That principle is wrong. We will continue preaching this until they hear. That is the wrong principle. In the Bible, a man called Nathan, the prophet, gave David a story about a man who had 100 sheep. And when this man who had 100 sheep received a visitor, instead of slaughtering one sheep out of 100, he went to his neighbor who had a poor man who had one sheep and took away the one sheep forcefully and slaughtered it for the visitor. That is the principle we are trying to introduce today, that you must rob one county to be able to benefit another county, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what the counties of, Madam Speaker, what the counties of Kenya should be doing is to gang up as a bloc and negotiate and deal directly with the national government to release more monies to the counties. Going forward, the battle should never be about County A versus County B. It should be the counties of Kenya versus the national government, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, a lot has been said about the Equalization Fund. How I wish the Equalization Fund was 100 billion shillings, because that is the kind of money that will see highways and water and electricity to the marginalized areas. Madam Speaker, I want to say as I end that the future of this country lies in developing the untapped, expansive counties of this country. That is where the future of Kenya lies. Tomorrow, we will be able to solve the developmental problems of this country if we develop Mandera, Marsabit, Coast Province, and other marginalized counties. And I want to exemplify my point as I end, Madam Speaker. After the Second World War, the Americans decided to put a bit more money for infrastructure, for electricity, for the transport system in the hitherto called the Wild West. And for that reason, Madam Speaker, today, California, which is in the middle of the desert, is the 5th largest economy in the world. Today, Las Vegas, which is the headquarters of the entertainment industry, is in the middle of the desert. Madam Speaker, another example is in Australia. Much of Western and Northern Australia is desert. But because of roads, because of railways, because of power, because of water, it is a very developed area in spite of the climate. Even for security reasons, Madam Speaker, we need to develop Mandela, Moyale, and these other places, even for security reasons. The way the Israelis have developed the city of Eilat at the southern border, because it provides them with the security of the nation. So that, Madam Speaker, in such a city, it is tax-free, there are so many incentives, housing is free, etc., etc. Madam Speaker, I support.
What's your point of order? Senator Mohammed?
I rise on point of order number 104. 104, that the question about be put, because the people are repeating the same thing, so that the question be put because of other amendments we put the question now and move to the next step because the process is very long. I beg to
Senator,
move.
we were just in the process of doing that, and reading the mood of the House, I would like to call upon the Leader of Majority. Senator, continue.
Yes, thank you. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, there is a time when ideas converge. Order now, you know, you guys, I tell you. Madam Speaker, let me protect now. Protect me from this.
Senator, continue.
Yes.
Leader of
Madam
Majority.
Speaker, this is simply.
Senator Aniri, can you just hold your cool?
Madam Speaker, this is simply to say that this was just about extending time, which we have agreed. And no, I know we did, extending time, and we agreed, and now we are back on the Linturi amendment. And as I've told you, this one I oppose for some reason. One reason is, Madam Speaker, we have used the opportunity badly. Madam Speaker, when we adjourned here last week, we agreed that we are going to build consensus. This is a unilateral move. There's no consensus that was built, Madam Speaker. And then you are told, bingo, we have a solution. It is a bingo. It is a eureka moment for some people, but only one side of the House decides they have a solution. The idea, Madam Speaker, was we go and build that consensus. Number two, Madam Speaker, and everybody has a chance to speak their mind. But number two, Madam Speaker, I think the language used around this formula and the language that we design around this whole thing, Madam Speaker, when members claim that money is stolen, and using language like that, Madam Speaker, I think that's really very unfair. Madam Speaker, there is no county which intentionally gets money from another county. It is a formula that does that. And Madam Speaker, so when we tell our people in Kenya that we should not steal or remove money from one country removing money from the other, I think we're just misleading them, Madam Speaker. So I just hope that we come to this sense. Let's put this to a vote and agree, Madam Speaker, that we are all looking for resources for our counties, and we should not, Madam Speaker, bring about emotional instability in our country by saying all sorts of things, Madam Speaker. And yet we know we are senators seeking resources for our counties. I oppose, and Madam Speaker, I just want to say we better put this thing to this test of a vote and move on. We have another amendment still waiting. We have other amendments. So let's take the shortest time, Madam Speaker, in all these amendments so that we can finish. Thank you very much.
Finally, Senator James Orengo.
Madam Speaker, I am really perturbed. We are engaged in a civil war, a cold civil war between counties. And that war is taking place in the Senate. I would have been happier if that war was taking place in another forum. But we are here now fighting with each other. Which county gets more money and which county gets more money, less money. The fight for resources, as I said in the beginning, Madam Speaker, 10 days ago, that if you are not very careful, what sessional paper number 10 did to this country in trying to ensure that development followed the railway line, we are doing it here today by having formulas coming in all sorts of formulations of winners and losers. Senate, if you read Article 96 of the Constitution, Article 96 of Article 1, the Senate represents counties. I am not here to represent Siaya. I'm here as a senator representing counties. And we lost the war when we allowed the central government to take all the money. In a 3 trillion budget, we ended up with 300 billion shillings. What a shame to this House. The war was between us and the national government to make sure that the counties got at least half of that 3 trillion. Now we are fighting each other over 300 billion. What type of people are we, Mr. Speaker, with respect? The war should have been looking at this constitution, that we should have made sure. And I can tell you, if you had made sure that we had more than 400 billion going to the counties, we would not have this argument today. We have been sent by our counties to hunt for big game. We are sent to hunt for elephants, and we ended up trapping a squirrel. Now we are fighting over a squirrel. What a shame to us. We are fighting over a rabbit. Haniri, Senator, we are fighting over a rabbit between Siaya and Vihiga, when we should have been fighting about the elephant. So I am telling you, at the beginning, Madam Speaker had said that we needed to sober down, reason together. Because even now, even the language of saying that we are removing money from one county to another, even going by the CRA formula, they did say we need cushioning, because the national government refused to give the money that we have proposed of 346 billion. And they said the only answer was now to find money to cushion and to take from Kiambu and take it to Mandera. Now I want to put this proposal. As a Senate, we have got a bigger war. Take a county like Lamu now, with the Lapset project. What is going to Lamu in Lapset is 100 times bigger than what they are getting from this allocation of 2 billion. And that Lapset project is moving from Lamu to Tana River, to Isiolo, to Marsabit. And if you're asking when, you don't know that there's an international airport in Isiolo. There is an international airport in Isiolo. If you didn't know, you are asleep. You are asleep. You are asleep. I am telling you, our fight is not between us counties. Our fight is with the national government to make sure more resources go to the counties. And one of the biggest mistakes we made, we allowed the national government to take all the functions. In agriculture, a lot of the money which should be going to the counties in health are remaining at the national government. They are remaining here to be looted and be taken away. And now we are fighting over peanuts. We are fighting over peanuts. Madam Speaker, I am saying in conclusion that this motion is to be rejected. We go back to the original motion, and I'm saying the original motion, I'm coming up with an amendment to make sure that we consider pastoralism, we consider the blue economy, we consider the extractive industry, we consider the farms in Kericho, because a lot of people there don't know what those farms are doing. I am talking about Narok, where they have game and conservation. We want it to become part of the parameters. Mr. Speaker, I am asking this Senate to wake up that our fight is not between counties, but between us and the national government. I oppose.
Honorable Senators, may I have your attention, Honorable Senators? I now propose the question. I now put the question, which is that the amendment by Senator Johnson Sarkarya, MP, to the motion on the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the third basis for allocating among the counties the share of national revenue for financial year 2020-2021 to 2024-2025 be amended in the manner proposed by Senator Mithika Linturi, MP, as appears on the order paper. I will now ask the bell to be rung for three minutes. Okay, 1 minute, it's okay, I'm okay with that. Before we take the vote, and the vote will be done by a roll call. 1 minute only. Honorable Senators, your seats, take your seats. Order, order, Honorable Senators. Yeah. Okay, okay. Honorable Senators, kindly take your seats. We are going to vote by roll call, and you vote from your seat. Kindly vote from your seat. If you want me to put, I can. I will. Honorable Senators, can we have order? Please, let's have order. We have a long day ahead of us. A long night, yes. I would like to ask the senators within the chambers to take their seats, and we are going to vote from our seats. Can I call names? And then senators who are in the extended chamber, please also prepare to start moving towards the chamber. Kindly take your seats, keep your distance. Honorable senators. Kindly take your seats and keep your distance, please. Social distance. I would like to put the question again. Honorable Senators, can you take your seats? I'm on my feet. Can I put the question again? I now put the question, which is that the amendment by Senator Johnson Sarkarya, MP, to the motion on the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the third basis for allocating among the counties the share of national revenue for financial years 2020 to 2021, 2020 to 2021, and 2024 to 2025 be amended in the manner proposed by Senator Mithika Linturi, MP, as appears on the order paper. Can we start voting?
Senator Adan Duro Fatuma, Isiolo County.
I vote yes.
Senator Ali Abdurai Ibrahim, Wajir County.
I vote yes.
Senator Boy Isa Juma, Kwale County.
I vote yes.
Senator Cherarike Samson, Nandi County.
For the sake of one man, one vote, 1 shilling, I vote yes.
No. Senator Cheruiyot Aaron, Kericho County.
It's okay, it's okay. Honorable Senators,
You can allow Cherarge later, but for me, I vote yes to Lenturi's amendment.
Honorable Senators, please vote from your seats. Don't move. Don't go to the dispatch.
Senator Haji Mohammed Yusuf, Garissa County.
He has not voted.
See the speaker.
He has not voted. He has not voted.
Madam Speaker, we want a ruling on that. Once you vote yes, is yes. You cannot retract. Simple.
That's not your work. That's not your work.
Point of order.
No, he did. That's it.
Please, can you move from this part?
I had not finished talking. These people interrupted me.
Can you, no, honorable senators, I will give guidance on that one. Let's finish the voting. We will give guidance on that one.
On behalf of my delegation.
Senator for Garissa. Senator for Garissa.
On behalf of my delegation, I vote a big fat yes.
Senator Harigura Godana, Marsabit County.
Senators, can you keep your cool? Please, let's be orderly and organized. We have to finish this business as soon as possible.
In order to unify this country, Marsabit votes yes.
Senator Imana Malakai
And honorable
Charles.
senators, please vote yes or no. We don't want stories because time is not on our side. Just vote.
Senator Imana Malakai Charles, Turkana County.
Yes, for the sake of Turkana votes yes.
Senator Kabaka Boniface, Machakos County.
For the unit of Kambas, I vote yes, and Kenya.
Senator Kajwang Moses Otieno, Homa Bay County.
Not working. Madam Speaker, Homa Bay votes no to Linturi's amendment, of Sarkarya's amendment, of Kibiru's amendment, of the CRA formula.
Senator Kamar Margaret.
We have already put the question. Please don't repeat. Just vote.
Senator Kamar Margaret, Uasin Gishu County.
Uasin Gishu votes no.
Senator Kangata Irungu, Murang'a County.
Senator Linturi wants Murang'a people to lose money. I vote no.
Senator Haniri George, Vihiga County.
Madam Speaker, on behalf of the people of Vihiga, our vote is an emphatic yes.
Senator Kibiru Charles, Kirinyaga County.
Because of the lies that has been put here by Senator Wambua, I vote no.
Senator Kihika Susan, Nakuru County.
Honorable senators, let us use civil language.
Madam Speaker, I vote no because I stand for the one man, one vote, 1 shilling.
Senator Kimani wa Matangi, Kiambu County.
Madam Speaker, because the proposal brought by Senator Linturi is anti-policy. Anti-policy because it seeks to entrench. It seeks to entrench.
Honorable senators,
Madam Speaker,
kindly vote.
Madam Speaker, because that proposal seeks to entrench.
No.
Madam Speaker, a position. Madam Speaker,
you are out of order.
Where,
you are out
Speaker,
of order.
we do not use the correct census numbers
you are out
and
of
not
order.
use the right data, Madam Speaker, I vote no.
What? Honorable senators, please let us show ourselves as senior citizens of this country. And on our order paper, on our standing order 83.5, when called out, each senator shall thereupon rise in his or her place and declare assent or dissent to the question in the following manner: I vote yes, or I vote no, or I abstain, or use appropriate Kenya Sign Language. And nothing else. And honorable senators, if you are within the chambers, just vote from where you are. Don't move to the dispatch.
Senator Kindiki Kithure, Tharaka Nithi County.
Madam Speaker, I vote yes.
Senator Kirinyaga Ephraim Mwangi Maina, Nyeri County.
Oh, let me go. Thank you. On behalf of Nyeri people, I vote no to the amendment.
Senator Langat Christopher Andrew, Bomet County.
I vote yes.
Senator Lelewel Tumbesi, Samburu County.
On behalf of the Samburu County, I vote yes.
Senator Linturi Mithika, Meru County.
I vote yes.
Senator Loitiptip Annual, Lamu County. Senator Masayo Stewart Mashiru, Kilifi County.
Madam Speaker, the delegation of Kilifi County votes yes.
Senator Mahmoud Mohamed Malim, Mandera County.
Madam Speaker, I vote yes.
Senator Malala Cleophas Wakungu, Kakamega County.
Madam Speaker, for Kenya, I vote yes.
Senator Mbito Michael, Trans Nzoia County.
Madam Speaker, Trans Nzoia votes no.
Senator Mbogo George Ochiro Ayako, Migori County.
Madam Speaker, I vote no.
Senator Mogeni Eric Okongo, Nyamira County.
Madam Speaker, Senior Counsel, on behalf of the great people of Nyamira and Omogusi, I vote yes.
Senator Moi Gideon, Baringo County.
There's one here. This one is on.
I vote no.
Senator Mpayei Philip, Kajiado County. Senator Murkomen Kipchumba, Erigayo Marakwet County.
Madam Speaker, in the interest of the nation, I vote yes.
Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., Makueni County.
For the interest of Kenya, I vote yes.
Senator Mwangi Paul Githiomi, Nyandarua County.
Mr. Speaker, sir, on behalf of Nyandarua people and for the sake of development in the marginalized counties, I vote no.
Senator Mwaruma Jones, Taita Taveta County.
Madam Speaker, on behalf of One Kenya, I vote yes.
Senator Mwinyihaji Mohamed Faki, Mombasa County.
Madam Speaker, I vote yes.
Senator Nderitu John Kinywa, Laikipia County.
Madam Speaker, kwa minajili ya kugatua pesa kila mahali, mimi napiga hapana.
Senator Ndwiga Peter Njeru, Embu County.
Wapi makofi? Madam Speaker, Embu delegation votes no.
Senator Olekina Ledama, Narok County.
Madam Speaker, for One Kenya, I vote yes.
Senator Ungeri Samson, Kisii County.
For the sake of Kenya, I vote no.
Senator Orengo James, Siaya County.
Honorable Senators, please, can we have some decorum?
Senator Orengo James, Siaya County. Senator Outa Frederick Otieno, Kisumu County.
For the sake of this nation, I vote no.
Senator Bogisho Samuel, West Pokot County.
Madam Speaker, I vote no.
Senator Sarkarya Johnson, Nairobi County.
Madam Speaker, I'm proud to be the 24th senator to vote yes.
Senator Wako Amos Siswila, Busia County.
I wish it was only Sarkarya's motion because Sarkarya, I knew him.
Honorable Senators, no, please vote. Just
I knew
vote.
him before he was born. I vote no.
Senator Wambua Enoch, Kitui County.
Madam Speaker, on behalf of the people of Kitui County and for the sake of the map of Kenya that looks familiar, I vote yes.
Senator Wario Gorij Juma, Tana River County.
Madam Speaker, kwa minajili ya kuweka Kenya pamoja, mimi pamoja na watu wa Tana River County tunasema ndio.
Senator Wetangula Moses, Bungoma County.
I vote no.
Senator Orengo James, Siaya County.
Madam Speaker, I vote no.
Honorable Senators, order members. We may have to take a repeat for Senator for Lamu and Senator for Kajiado. And Standing Order 84, if after electronic voting or a roll call vote has been made, it is discovered that the number has been inaccurately reported, or that an error has occurred in the names or the division list, the fact shall be reported to the Senate, and the Speaker shall direct that the necessary correction be made. And based on that, I would like to give Senator Sarkarya an opportunity to vote the way he would want to vote.
For the sake of...
No, Senator, just wait for you to be called. Just wait for your name to be called. Just call. Just call the three. Honorable, Senators, we are going to follow the procedure, and you'll just kindly just...
Senator Loitip Annual, Lamu County. Senator Mpayei Philip, Kajiado County. Senator Cherari K. Samson, Nandi County.
For the interest of the people of Nandi and for the interest of 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling, I vote no to both amendments.
Honorable Senators, the results are as follows. Ayes 25, nays 20, abstention 0. The ayes have it. So, senators will now invite the debate as amended, the motion as amended. Senator Cheriot Aaron.
Madam Speaker, I pass this chance so that I may contribute in the main debate.
Senator Mutula.
Madam Speaker, judging from the mood of the House, I propose you put the question and the mover to be called upon to reply. We vote. We are ready to vote.
Is that the mood of the House? Yes. Can the mover be called to reply? The mover to reply. Honorable Senators, can we have some order? Please let's have some order. Honorable Senators, can we have some order? Some order, please. And now we are calling the debate as per the amendment, as amended. We want the debate as per the amendment of Senator Sarkarya. Yes, as amended. What's your point of order, Sarkarya? Senator Sarkarya.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, you're very clear. What do you want me to use? Madam Speaker, you're very clear that now we go back to the motion as amended by the further amendment to my amendment. So that motion is the motion that was brought by Senator Kibiru. So, Madam Speaker, because he's the one to reply, no one replies, you don't reply amendments. Amendments are not replied. So, Madam Speaker, the mood of the House was that we don't seek to debate anymore. We want to go to the vote. Unless we use standing order, I think 35 or what not to ask for that. But the general mood, because members have said the same thing throughout, then we just go to the mover to reply and we put the vote.
Honorable Senators, from what I can get, there's senators who would want to speak to the motion as amended. Let me just
move the motion for mover to reply. So we vote on it.
Let's just be fine. Senator Kajwang.
The correct procedure.
Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I beg that you protect me from the Senator of Narok.
Please.
Madam Speaker, I beg your protection and indulgence. I've been given the floor. Madam Speaker,
Put a question.
Speaker Mahenda.
What's up?
No.
What's an
Honorable Senators, this is a house of order. Honorable Senators, order. Honorable Senators, I propose the question. I propose the motion as amended by Senator Linturi and Senator Sarkarya, that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the third basis for revenue allocation among the county governments laid on the table of the Senate on Monday, 13th July 2020, and that pursuant to Article 217 of the Constitution, approve the proposed third basis for revenue allocation among the county governments as contained in the report. And as further amended by Senator Sarkarya and Senator Midhika Linturi. Senator Cheruiyot.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I support this motion as now presented before this House. Madam Speaker, we've been...
Senator, you may need some guidance. As first, we had already agreed on the limit of 5 minutes, so we go by the 5 minutes, please.
5 minutes is enough, Madam Chair.
5 minutes is adequate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Speaker, this House has been through a very difficult journey. The last 7 or 8 weeks haven't given us a good opportunity as a House.
Honorable Senators, can you take your seats? And some social distancing, please.
Can I proceed, Madam Speaker? Good. Madam Speaker, I'm saying I support this motion because it's been a very difficult 7 or 8 weeks for us members of this House.
Honorable Matsayo, you have a point of order? Honorable Senators, please let's have some order. Senator Matsayo.
Yeah. Asante, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, hoja yangu ya nidhamu ni kwamba kuna watu walikuwa wamepewa nafasi wakaongea, mswada ni huu ule wakati uliokuwa umepita. Na hivi sasa ninaona ya kwamba katika hizi kompyuta zetu, Madam Speaker, kuna wengine kama sisi hatujapewa nafasi ya kuongea hata kidogo. Na mimi nakuomba Madam Speaker, ukuwe na usawa na kila mtu, manake pia mimi niko na right ya kuongea kama seneta mwingine.
I have noted your concern and I'm giving you the next chance.
Asante, Madam Speaker.
Madam.
I think also what can guide us properly, Honorable Senators, can you remove your cards and lodge in again? Please remove your cards. Yes, and then... May I ask all the members, just please remove all your cards. No, I can see the names are still listed. Yes, okay, fine. Senator, continue.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the whole premise of this debate is about fairness and the desire to have a united country where, as a Senate, we are being called upon to shepherd this nation in a way that will leave us better united as a people and each and every one of us celebrating. In my honest opinion, Madam Speaker, I think we are back to Naivasha all over again in 2010. Colleagues who are members of parliament back in 2010 will reveal to you that this is not the first time Kenya is having this debate between land and population, between 1 man and 1 kilometer. And it was the wisdom of the leaders who were present in Naivasha at that time that to strike a compromise, those who are strongly tilted towards a parliamentary system were granted devolution, and those who are heavy in terms of a presidential system were granted the same. And thus, they saved this country from dividing right in the middle. That is a difficult question that has been before us. And I'm so proud of my colleague, Senator Linturi, for having finally guided us and given us a resolution which I feel that if we support as a House, will guide this nation in a better way. Because you no longer have a situation where a particular county is losing more than 1 billion Kenya shillings, Madam Speaker, and others are gaining a similar amount. Senator Linturi's proposal has 29 counties gaining, but not gaining as much as has been proposed by CRA. The 18 counties that are losing, it is a figure that is manageable, close to 300 to 500 million Kenya shillings, Madam Speaker. I feel
Honorable
this is an extremely fair proposal.
Chief Whip.
I feel this is an extremely fair proposal, Madam Speaker, and I want to plead and urge my colleagues to support this particular motion in the format that has been brought before us by Senator Linturi. This is about justice. Madam Speaker, every time we sing the national anthem, stanza 2 of our national anthem, we sing and pray to God that justice be our shield and defender. It's not an idle song that we present as a people. How can you say that you stand for justice, yet as a senator you want to preside and stand in this house and celebrate while your colleagues are losing close to 2 billion Kenya shillings? That is not fairness, that is not equity, that is not what is demanded for us as leaders before this house. Madam Speaker, the last 2 years have taught me great lessons on justice and fairness. You know what is happening in this country, Madam Speaker. Last time, when we used to come to this house and we had our colleagues from the then NASA coalition coming before us in the house on afternoons after they have been tear-gassed, and they're coming before us as colleagues. Many are the times that we kept quiet because we thought, with the comfort of government, why should I be worried about my colleagues who are being tear-gassed? Little did I know that in 2 short years, roles will be reversed, and I'll be the one being tear gas this particular time. And I want to plead with my colleagues that if you support injustice today, you never know when the pendulums of power will switch and you will be on the receiving end. Today you are celebrating because you are receiving extra money. But you do not know what the debate will be about tomorrow. It might be a different thing that your county is not favored. And therefore, I plead with you that the good book, the Bible says, all it takes for evil to prosper is good men who do nothing. All it will take for devolution to die in these countries is good senators who look as many as 18 counties are being skinned alive. There is no county that can survive a removal of more than even 200 or 300 million Kenya shillings, Madam Speaker. And therefore, I plead with my colleague that Senator Linturi has granted us a perfect opportunity. If you look at the parameters that he's considering, there are very little variations from what the committee had proposed. That's why, as a member of Finance and Budget Committee, and I've been in that committee since last time, this is not the first formula that we are handling. We handled the second generation formula in 2016. We followed close to the same parameters as being proposed this particular afternoon before us, Madam Speaker. And Senator Linturi doesn't deviate further from them. So I plead with my colleagues that finally, because the country has been looking up to us to offer leadership, finally, we have a resolution before us which, if we agree, all counties will go home happy. I've seen senators try and say, perhaps, why should you change your position and move away from your committee's proposal? It's a plain and simple question.
The conduct in this House, I'm sorry, Senator, but the way we are conducting ourselves in this House is very shameful. People are just, senators are just walking up and down as if we are not in the chambers. It's not acceptable. Senator, conclude.
Madam Speaker, I want to propose that all funds that are sent to our counties be subjected to this particular proposal. Madam Speaker, if we are speaking about the gains that are made to different counties, we are forgetting that even in this current financial year, there is close to 70 billion in conditional grants that are going to counties in no particular order. As a House, we have abdicated our responsibilities, and therefore, from today, because we have sent a signal to the national government that as a House, we want justice and we want equity, even conditional grants, we need to sit down and see the criteria that the national government follows in granting conditional grants to the various counties. Madam Speaker, with those very many remarks, I support.
Senator Matsayo, what's your point of order?
Order 104, closure to debate. Madam Speaker, I'd like to beseech you that we adjourn, we call the mover to reply, because look at the time now. It is going to around 7. Madam Speaker, and it will be a shame if we now start mobilizing people to seek an adjournment, because that is the intended outcome or strategy later this afternoon. So, Madam Speaker,
your point
I would like to request
Senator, your point is noted.
That we now call the mover to reply so that we can end this and give counties money.
Honorable Senator, your point is noted. We extended this debate. We extended the time, and I think we have up to 8 o'clock, 8:30 to debate on this. So I'm going to allow a few members, because I cannot just call upon the mover to reply, yet I have so many members who would like to Senator Matsayo, let's give it a bit of time, please, senators. Senator Matsayo.
I'm not on. Asante Bispika. Bispika, nashukuru ya kwamba umeweza kunipatia nafasi pia mimi niweze kutoa fasaha zangu na mswada ulioko hapa hivi leo. Bispika, mimi nataka kusema ya kwamba haya mageuzi haya hapo awali kaunti nyingi sana zilikuwa zinapoteza pesa nyingi, lakini kwa sasa kuna afueni katika kaunti nyingi sana katika zile ambazo zinapoteza. Speaker, hakuna mashindano ya kwamba wengine watapata, wengine watapoteza. Lakini
You know, I rose on a point of order.
Madam Speaker, I have a point of
I have not given, Senator Mugeni, I have not given you an opportunity for a point of order. Senator Matsai was on the floor. Senator, I thought I'd give, you asked to be given an opportunity to debate. Senator for Kilifi is on the floor. Are you on a point of order or what is it? Senator Matsayo, please continue.
Asante. Asante Bispika. Bispika, kitu muhimu ambacho nataka niseme ni kwamba katika hii maneno kila mtu atakuwa anaweza kufaidika. Bispika, hapa kumejaa points of order. Nataka pia mimi uweze kunisaidia.
Senator, just continue. You are on the floor. Just continue and conclude your...
Bispika, kwa sababu ya wengi, inasema wengi wape. Mimi nakubaliana ya kwamba tupige kura saa hii. Sasa hivi maneno malizike. Asante Bispika.
Honorable Senators, I think it is important for us to go by the rules of the House. And it is very clear that after a senator has already made a contribution on a particular matter, the same cannot move. You cannot move for a closure of a debate under paragraph 1 and 2 that may be moved by a senator who has spoken to the motion under consideration. So we have senators who would want to make contributions. Senator Sarkarya, what is your point of order? And please, let's be brief with our points of order so that we can move forward.
Very briefly, Madam Speaker. Number one, I have not spoken to the motion. I spoke to an amendment, and our standing order say you can speak to the amendment. I have not spoken to the motion. Number two, standing order number 104, Madam Speaker, says that when a senator rising in his or her place claims to move, that the mover be now called upon to reply, Madam Speaker, the Speaker shall ask that the mover be now be called to reply and shall be put forthwith the question and decided, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when that request is made under 104, it is not open discretion for the Speaker. You're supposed to put the question for senators to decide whether the mover is called to reply, and if that question passes, then the question is put on the motion, Madam Speaker. So as you've said, Madam Speaker, and I agree with you 100%, I agree with you 100%, Madam Speaker, that we go by the rules, and that is what 104, 1, 2, and 3 provide for under our standing orders, Madam Speaker.
Senator Kindiki Kithure, what is your point of order?
The same, Madam Speaker, the same points raised by Senator Sarkarya.
Okay, Senator Abdullahi.
Madam Speaker, it's on the same. We just want you to rule on, to put the question for the mover to reply in 104. It will be the House to decide whether it is time for mover to reply or not.
Senator Ochila Yako, what do you have to say? Then it is the House to decide.
Madam Speaker, in response to that point of order, Madam Speaker, you had already allowed members to record their sentiments regarding the amendment. And Madam Speaker, I've been sitting here, and for my own sake, for the sake of the people of Migori, and for the sake of those with the alternative feelings, I would like to request you to treat us equally and allow some of us to say what we must say, because we cannot be locked out. It is very important for me to record my feeling.
Honorable sends the same order, our standing orders 104, and put the question. Senator Kajwang, what's your point of order?
Madam Speaker, nobody has a monopoly on ideas in this House. And when you read the Desiderata, it tells you, listen to everyone, even the dull and ignorant, they too have their story. I may be dull and ignorant, but I represent the people of Homa Bay. Madam Speaker, we are discussing the motion that has taken us 8 adjournments and 10 various permutations of formula. It cannot be rushed. Each and every senator here has a right to go on record so that his people, Madam Speaker, please protect me from the heckling. This House is becoming a Tower of Babel, Madam Speaker. Every senator has a right to go on record. And Madam Speaker, we have already passed a motion to extend time. Madam Speaker, we have already passed a motion to extend time.
Noted. Your point is noted, Honorable Senator. I will now put the question. I now put the question that the mover be called upon to reply. May as many as are of the opinion say aye. Aye. And those of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Now, I would like to call the chair, which is Senator Kibiru, if he's in the House, to reply. Or the Vice Chair, Senator Ochila Yako, to reply. Senator Ochila Yako, in your capacity as the Deputy Chair, can you make a reply?
Madam Speaker, can you ask all my distinguished colleagues to listen in silence as I talk?
Honorable Senators, can we have some order?
Can Olekina sit down so that the member for Migori can talk?
Senator Cherargei, Senator, kindly let's have some order.
Yeah, you can. There is? Madam Speaker. No, you don't have to guide me. I want to reply. You don't have to talk back. There is a point of order.
Senator. No.
On a point of order, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Senator Rengo.
Madam Speaker, if I may be heard.
Please, let's have some order.
Yeah.
Honorable members, can we have some order?
On the order paper, on the substantive motion, the motion by the Finance Committee, which is a substantive motion before the House. There are several amendments. And if you look at the order paper, this matter was before the House Business Committee. There are several amendments, proposed amendments to the substantive motion. And one of them is the amendment by Senator Wamatangi. And then there's an amendment by Senator Petronila Were. And then I also have an amendment to that motion. So, Madam Speaker, I don't know how the mover can be called upon to reply when there is a substantive amendment before the House. If you look at the order paper, it is not a matter that I'm bringing from the floor. If you look at the order paper, I have an amendment. And I don't know what the clerks are doing. Yeah, we're going to question the clerks also, because the clerks, there are amendments to the substantive motion. I appreciate the fact that Honorable Linturi's amendment to the Sarkarya motion has been passed. That is no problem. Then there's amendment by Senator Sarkarya. That has not been voted on. No. It cannot have been voted because it is a matter concerning counties. It is a matter concerning counties. So it cannot be voted on a voice vote. There must be a roll call. No, I am on the floor. I'm on the floor. Madam Speaker, I'm on the floor. Madam Speaker.
Honorable Senators, kindly.
Yeah, I'd ask Madam Speaker that the honorable member, Senator for Kiambu and the Senator for Muranga should not approach you. They should stay away. This is a matter of procedure. And you should go by the order paper. This is not a kangaroo Senate. And I should be called upon. I have a substantive amendment. And it has not been called upon. So I think it is important. Only Olekina has got an amendment. Yeah, and then Sarkarya had a motion. So can we go by the order paper? And the clerk should advise you accordingly. Yeah.
Now you cannot be attracting my attention and you are on your feet. Can we have some order, please? Senator Whip. I'll give you this, no problem.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I rise to support the minority leader. And no, the contention that if the committee, vice chair or even chair, was to be called upon to respond, Madam Speaker, the effect of that will be that you have closed debate. Whereas we have several motions that exist seeking to amend the committee report. Madam Speaker, Honorable Senator Petronila has an amendment. It has not been discussed or debated. Honorable Wamatangi has an amendment. It has not been debated. Madam Speaker, I urge you uphold the point of order that has been raised by the minority leader and allow members to converse, to discuss. Madam Speaker, I make reference to the ruling that was made by Chair last time you were here, Madam Speaker. It was agreed you give each and every senator who has a motion, an amendment, at least about 3 hours to discuss each and every amendment and motion. Otherwise, that would be unfair. My motion was debated for 3 hours, and Sarkarya's motion has also been deliberated for a very prolonged time. It's only fair you allow all senators to prosecute. Thank you.
Honorable Senators, by shouting, we are not going to get anywhere. We must find a middle ground. So let's listen to a few people, but I can also give direction that going by what has happened, I think it was an oversight on the side. What I'm saying, you have to listen, you'll have to listen. What I'm saying is, we can give ourselves like 10 minutes so that we agree on way forward. Let's give ourselves 10 minutes, adjournment for 10 minutes, so that we get.
Madam Speaker.
Senator Linturi, I've not given you, Senator Linturi. What did you do?
Kindly, senators, let me be heard in silence. Madam Speaker, I am pleading. I'm pleading and I want to be heard in silence.
Please, can we have silence?
Madam
Shouting
Speaker,
at each other, standing will not move us forward.
Madam Speaker, my dear colleagues, I have listened to the directions made by the Speaker, and I have no doubt that we are in the right way. However, Madam Speaker, it should not be forgotten that some of us have been in the corridors of Parliament for quite a long time. And we've known the tricks of trying to suspend debates or making decisions on matters that are so important by applying tricks that probably are meant to defeat the whole purpose of every debate. Mr. Speaker, if you do not put your feet down properly and give direction, in another matter of 1 hour, we'll be told there is curfew. And for that reason, you will be need for us to adjourn without determining the matter that is before us. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to use
your point is
wisdom. And because the mood of the House, because these are the senators that will debate
your point
and
is
make
clear.
a
Your
decision
point
on
is
the
made.
matter, and their mood is that we proceed. Probably I would seek
Senator
or
Ambua.
request you, Madam Speaker,
Senator
anybody that
Ambua.
has the amendment to bring it and then it's voted by the senators on its own merit.
Senator Ambua is on the floor. Kindly, honorable senators, let's have attention.
Madam Speaker, more than once, Madam Speaker, I'll wait until there's change of guard, then I will prosecute my point of order.